Right, hello and welcome to Camel Finance. I'm your boy Camel and welcome to Monday. Welcome to the week. I wanted to kick things off with a brief message, what I hope will be brief, we'll see how much I ramble, about this thing right here. And now, before you go, oh man, who needs to talk about this on Monday morning? I actually think some of you guys need to hear this, okay? I'm getting an awful lot of comments from you guys to say that you think this is a very real possibility. You think this is coming, and I'm getting a lot of people that are clearly living in some kind of fear or emotional state at the moment. So this is not me opening Monday morning with some bad news. It's quite the opposite. I wanted to offer a different perspective, one of positivity, one of fearlessness, because life is much better when you live fearlessly. By no means am I suggesting we bury our heads in the sand and we don't pay attention to any of our surroundings. By no means am I suggesting that we don't take some steps to think about the future and try to factor in every possible outcome. But what I can say for sure, as somebody that has never given this topic much energy, if I cast my mind back to around 2000, 2001, I can think of some events in that neighborhood that had people talking about this as an absolute certain outcome. I can then think back to countless times since then when we have allegedly the start of one of these, right? There has been no shortage of things in the news for as long as I can remember. Somebody is always invading somebody. Somebody is always threatening somebody. Somebody is always comparing the size of something with some other nation, okay? Now, that's not to say that I give it a 0% probability. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is I move through life with a fearlessness regarding this subject. And I can see in the comments that many of you do not, okay? So my advice is as simple as this. Shift your perspective to one of positivity and optimism, and you will see this reflected in your conditions and circumstances and in your reality back at you. If you walk around in this fear state, things are going to continue to look worse and worse and worse. Now, like I said, there's always someone invading someone. There's always someone threatening someone. But think about it. Really, really think about it. When was the last time you can remember where there wasn't this overlooming threat? And it never shows up. Okay. Now, again, I'm not saying it couldn't. I'm just saying I don't think it does. And I certainly refuse to live in this state where I'm plodding around day to day going, oh, well, what's the point? What's the point in making money? Because we're all going to die. No, okay? Don't live like that, okay? If this was to happen, God forbid, if this was to happen, then we're all going to have bigger problems, okay? But in the meantime, just like my trading strategy, it's right until it's wrong. Or if it ain't broke, don't fix it, okay? Look around you, be positive, be grateful for what you have. Because if you're watching this, okay, if you have an investment portfolio, you're in an incredibly privileged position relative to most people on this planet. So just consider that it's Monday, now is new, we enter a new week with a new positive attitude, and for the people that are coming at me, not coming at me, but people that are expressing fear and concern about this in my comment section, just remember, okay, you don't have to be scared. That is a choice. If you're reading the news and you're worried, okay, that is your choice. You're choosing to give your energy to that. You are choosing to live in a fear state. And remember, they want you to be scared because the more fearful you are, the easier you are to control. The reason 1 or 2 dogs can herd an entire flock of sheep is because the sheep are scared of the dogs, okay? So just remember that. Stay positive. This probably isn't going to happen, okay? And maybe I'm wrong, okay? But like I said, it's probably not going to happen. Things are never quite as bad as people really think. So with that out the way, okay, welcome to Monday. Let's bring the positivity because this week we've got some big events. This week we've got some big news. In no particular order, $8.5 trillion asset manager Charles Schwab is reportedly preparing to enter the spot Bitcoin ETF market. Whilst we're on this topic of ETFs, investors appear to have completed the majority of their profit taking from GBTC. This should, in theory, ease the downward pressure on the price of Bitcoin in the coming period, according to JP Morgan. And on the flip side, Barry just woke up and deposited close to $500 million of Bitcoin on Coinbase. Normally when you move Bitcoin onto an exchange, it implies that this Bitcoin is going to be sold. And of course, the inverse is true. People that withdraw Bitcoin from exchanges typically tend to be locking it down in cold storage with a longer term hold approach. So perhaps the GBTC selling is done and more selling is going to show up. That actually makes sense from a cycle perspective, as I'm going to show you when we get to the charts in just a moment. But overall, the whales continue to be appreciative of people that keep lettuce handing their Bitcoin. If we hop into this heat map, okay, you can see the top cohorts. This is 100 to 1,000 Bitcoin, 1,000 to 10,000, and over 10,000 Bitcoin cohorts, okay? big holders, whales, are, as you can see, blue, blue, and blue. Now, all of this means they are in a heavy accumulation, and this is more neutral, and down here is heavy distribution. So what this means at the hard right edge is the big boys are in heavy accumulation mode, and you can see, conversely, the people with less than 100 Bitcoin are the ones panic selling their Bitcoin on this dip, expecting a 10K retest or worse. So the game is the game, and this is how it's played, okay? These small guys sell their Bitcoin to the big guys. Whilst the cycles are telling us, as you'll see in a minute, that we should be open to seeing one more rollover into a cycle low for Bitcoin, zooming out and taking a look at the monthly candles gives us a slightly different picture, right? You can see here, trendline resistance, a breakout, and eventually a top. And of course, between the breakout and the top, what do we see? We see a parabolic advance. Same deal here, right? What we got is a trendline resistance looking to break out, just like we did back here, tells us to keep an open mind about better than expected performance for Bitcoin walking forward. Zooming in, you can see we had this first level and the second level. Okay, we come down and violate it, we do a little bit of chop, and then we come down one more time and move off. Same deal here, right? We've got one level, two level, we come down and violate it, chop around for a bit, roll over one final time onto that support, the second, and then we move off. Same deal here, one level, two level, violate it, chop around, roll over one last time and go. And now where are we? One level, two level, violate it, chop around, hopefully, before one final move down lower. That would make perfect sense from a cycle low perspective into that cycle low. And then we should be looking to reverse and continue higher. This overall remains the base case. Bitcoin's chart looking quite enticing to buyers at the moment, as we're about to see. I'm not going to spend too much time on the charts this morning because obviously we did that deep dive over the weekend and nothing has changed as always on a Monday. But if I click into Bitcoin, okay, note how I drew this trend line in red by connecting these two wicks using the Bitstamp exchange. And here we go. Look, perfect touch. Perfect touch. So far a rejection tells us to be open to that rollover. Now, again, as I was saying in the weekend, the thing we got to watch for is if this starts to break out of this downward sloping red resistance line on a daily closing basis, we will have to entertain that we've forced an early cycle low and that we're moving higher. But the trade is very simple if we don't break out, right? If we don't at least fake out and then roll over, that would be kind of tough to deal with. Will we have to respect this or not? That will be determined. But all the while we're underneath this, Bitcoin's in easy mode because we know the cycle will give us the advantage. We're still looking for that cycle. And I was thinking about this morning. How would this be for fitting a narrative? You know that thing I say all the time, every dip has its narrative? The narrative for this shape to play out, assuming it does, would probably look something like this, right? We reject a resistance, we get into FOMC in 2 days' time, and the Fed say something to spook the markets. Maybe they say inflation is sticky, maybe they say we're going to have to hike rates further, maybe they say things are breaking and everything's going to implode and we're going to have to cut much sooner than expected. Whatever it is they say that spooks the market will cause this rejection at resistance, and people will say that that's because of what the Fed said. But ultimately, it would have been in the charts, just like my yellow squiggle suggests. And then we maybe have this sell-off, this rollover into the cycle low, which is due right around what date, right? The CPI data date. So I wonder if that's what we get. The Fed shake the market out one more time, a rollover into that cycle low, only to come out and get that CPI data that I was showing you over the weekend's video, come in on a two handle as expected, and suddenly the market reverse, break out and rip higher. So again, show me the charts and I'll tell you the news, right? This is of course to be determined. This is what the cycle suggests. One rejection at resistance, a rollover, possibly an undercut of this low, form a cycle low and a swing, and out of that swing reversal and a trendline break confirmation. I can get long again, and we'll also be looking to add some crypto related equities out of that, of course. So to me, all of that would make sense. And if we get that set up, in hindsight, it'll be super obvious, right? Say we do this yellow squiggle and then we come blasting out of here. By the time we're up here, we'll be able to look back and go, well, of course, right? We had the failed cycle, which tells us to expect a lower low. This move back into resistance and a rejection. We got a swing, confirmed it with a breakout, and of course we moved higher. All of this was catalyzed. You know, the Fed shook the market up and CPI came in lower than expected. Boom. All of that will make perfect sense in hindsight. So as ever, one day at a time, let's see what will happen. Again, things will start to get a little bit more complex if we start to break out of here, because we will have to entertain that even in the best case scenario, this is coming. And in the worst case scenario, that's forced early cycle low. And we'll have to try to find a nice place to hop in here as it starts to tear higher. So we'll see. That is what my focus is on. As always, I will update you if I decide to take longs out of a breakout should they occur. But just keep this in mind, below this red resistance line, and this is easy mode because we know that this is coming. So hopefully the market will give us a gift. They don't often give us gifts, but sometimes they do. So that's that. So nice and short, nice and sweet. Honestly, not a great deal to say Of course, in the weekends video, we went over everything that we need to know. So ultimately, like I was saying in the weekends video, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Welcome to Monday. I hope you're doing well in life. I hope you can consider what I said at the start of this video. Tomorrow, I've got a video set to upload, which I've called something along the lines of Principles for Staying Ahead of the Curve, and I'm going to add that to the Trading Tutorials playlist, so look out for that. And until then, as always, take care from me. I hope you're doing well in life. Till next time, cheers, bye.